So what's up, everybody? Welcome back to TD Fans Talk. I'm glad we got one in the room already. Just started, but hey guys, I'm glad to continue the series that we've already started, the NFL versus the NFLPA. If you haven't checked out part one, please go back, check it out. Some more information about what's going on with the collective bargaining agreement. Also today, we will be discussing part two, which is pretty much, we've already got to know who the main characters are in this fight, which is Roger Goodell and Mr. Smith. I always messes the pronunciation of his name up. Let me make sure I get it correct. Damari Smith, yes. So we already, the last video, we discussed who these two gentlemen are, what their backgrounds are, what they're fighting for, who they represent, and basically their reputation, okay? And they're both very solid in what they do, all right, guys? Now it's time to transition. Since we know who the main characters are, we know who's actually having the conversations, now we can start to visualize and picture these arguments in our heads, okay? Now, that's what we're going to be discussing today. What is the argument all about? Why can't we just play football, everybody's happy, and we're all good? And we already discussed on the last stream, the reason why is because Roger Goodell, being the commissioner of the NFL, his job is to make money and revenue for the owners, and that doesn't stop. That job never stops. If you're making a lot of money right now, they don't want you to continue making the same money. It is your job to make them even more. And when they make even more, it is your job to make them even more. And when you make even more, it is your job to make them that much more. It never stops. You have to continue as a commissioner to find ways to grow the business and make more and more and more money. And then you look at Damari Smith on the other end. Hey, it's his job to do the same thing, but for the players. Make sure in the process of the NFL making more and more and more that the players are represented. They get their fair share. They get some of the things that they need. The more money gets thrown around, the more the players want. Let's keep it real, guys. If you were a player and the NFL is just making buku money off of you, you know, and they're making more and more and more, you want to make more and more and more. Not only do you want to make more and more and more, you also want the amenities that come with a company that can afford to make the employees the best employees ever and the happiest. So they want all the amenities. They want, you know, less work, more pay, and different things like that, okay? So get that straight first and foremost as we continue to discuss the differences. But that's what we're talking about today, the differences. What are they actually fighting over, okay? Now, before we get into the exact things that they are fighting over, I'm going to give you a scenario of what happened back in 2011 for the previous collective bargain agreement. That way you'll have a sense of understanding the mind frame and what are some of the games that have already happened and taken place. So you know, so whenever we start talking about what they're fighting over, you'll have a better consensus on, oh, I see what they're trying to do, but I also see what they're trying to do, okay? So before I get started, I'm going to get this information coming courtesy. Want to make sure I give the props to who it belongs to because they did a great piece on this one. Andrew Brandt, okay? This was June 11, 2019. This article entitled "The NFL and NFLPA are both posturing when they could just start negotiating the CBA," which is so true. That's going to be our conclusion. But I just wanted to make sure I gave that person credit because I got a lot of resourceful information from this individual's article. So I want to make sure I shout him out. Andrew, great article. I learned a lot from this article. All right, so with that being said, okay, backdrop story. Let me give you the premise right now before we go into everything that the NFL wants and the players want. Let me give you a premise right now, and shout out to Fartface with the donation. I see it. Appreciate your love and support, man. Let me give you a quick premise, okay? The NFL wants more games. Let's just get that out there now. We're not going to talk about all the other things they want yet, but I want to show you what they did in the last NFLPA. The NFL wants more games. There's no secret. Everybody and their mama know that the NFL wants an 18-game season. They've been throwing it out. They threw it out in 2011 during the collective bargaining agreement. Hey, let's start 2 more seasons. The players are like, absolutely not. The players wouldn't have it whatsoever. The players not trying. They already beat up. By the time you're in week 8, everybody's beat up. You know, you got to go through that hard, gruesome stretch from 9 to 16. And hopefully your bye wasn't early in the season like ours always is. It was later and you got a week between all of that. But these guys are beat up and you're trying to add more wear on their body. So the NFL knows that this would be a massive battle if they did 18-game season. Let me show you what the NFL did. And this is what the reader believes. And I like this reader's theory on what happened because I kind of feel the same way, okay? So let me give you an example of what happened, okay? Now, the owners threw out there, here, let me show you the games Goodell and the owners did, okay? What they played. Last CBA, they threw it out there. They said, hey, you know, we want to have 18-game season, okay? And the players, of course, absolutely not. Now, the owners, I'm going to read this verbatim, okay? Owners will privately, if not publicly, just straight up to your face, tell you that they do not even need the players' consent to adjust the season. In all actuality, they don't. I mean, it's a job. It's just like you go to work every day. If you got to go, I don't know what you do for a living. I mean, maybe you drive Uber and you got to pick up these 2 people in this 1 hour and you're done for the day. If Uber wanted to, they could tell you, no, I don't want you to pick up those 2 people. I want you picking up these 4. More. I want you to handle all 4 of those instead of just 2. It's your workload. They give you your workload. Okay? They tell you what your workload is. If it's excessive, hey, this is the workload. Can you handle it or not? You know? So the NFL owners are taking that stance. We don't even have to consent with y'all or talk to y'all. We can make 18 like that, you know, if we want to. Now, that's where the tension is coming from. Some NFL owners look at it like, I don't care if we have a lockout. They're trying to attack our bottom line profits. I don't care if we have a lockout. At the end of the day, we need these 18 seasons. I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. Some NFL owners, I'm pretty sure they are gruesome about it. They're just like, trust me, most of the players ain't going to survive a lockout. What if we have a lockout? What do I lose? I lose what? $100 million maybe that year? All good with me. That's all good with me. Because these 2 additional games is going to make that up just like that. You know? So we can have a lockout. We're going to see who hurt. I guarantee the NFLPA be in the room pretty quick after these players calling, hey, I can't do it anymore. I don't have any money. I need my money. I need my money. I can't stay in this lockout. So what do? All right, that's the biggest power that Smith has, okay, is to, if the players get behind him and do, you know, threaten a lockout, they're powerful if they can withstand. But not 40, but 80% of the league can't take that. They can't take a sit out, maybe a month or 2, you know, and if they do a season, man, it's a lot of people that's going to be struggling. They're going to be struggling. So it's not likely to ever happen because I don't think you'll get the overwhelming support. They'll threaten it, and they might even go through with it with the hopes that the NFL budges within a few weeks or a month, and then they'll hurry up and get it done. Same thing happened in 2011. We actually had a lockout. But what did the NFLPA do? They got back in the room and they figured something out. So it's tough for the players unless they're willing to go the distance. And I'm just saying, I'm keeping it real. I just don't think they are, but who knows? This might be a new era. They're willing to stand up for something instead of falling for anything. Who knows? But anyway, so at the end of the day, the NFL doesn't need the permission, but here's what they did. They got a little creative, okay? They already knew this was a big issue. Some owners say, let's go through the lockout. But the remaining owners, the reason why it's always tough, the remaining owners, they look at it as, man, I don't want to go through a lockout either. We hurt as well. Yeah, we'll lose $100 million this year, and we'll be fine, each of us. But at the same token, now the TV deals aren't going to be paying premium dollar because at the end of the day, why are they going to sign a 10-year deal with us when any given season there can be a lockout? That's a little scary, you know. That's not going to drive the revenue that we want, the attention to our corporation. Our corporation is massive, and we don't want to draw that type of attention, and then our value will go down. We might take a bigger hit long term. And that's on the value of us. They get all that money from TV deals, guys. And these TV deals look at the product as this is a sustainable product that we can put on our TV. It'll never fail. It is perfect. And it gets the most views out of just about anything on TV. Out of anything. And we're making so much more money than we're sending them, even though we're sending them a lot. A whole lot. They say TV deals are a lot, guys. So when they get the money, it's like we have to protect this. We have to make sure the TV networks love our product and they feel it's consistent and in stone that they keep on renewing contracts for bigger and bigger and bigger amounts, because we can ask for bigger amounts, because whatever hypothetically CBS paid this year, ABC is offering double this time, but CBS wants to keep it and they've already had it, so they're going to pay 105% of what it was before, whatever it is, double plus more. Just to beat each other out. It's a bidding war, y'all. It's a bidding war. So they're not bidding on you and paying you billions and think they're going to take a loss. No, they're making even more than that. So at the end of the day, some of the owners feel like, I don't want to lock out because that's going to mess that up. You know, the bidding isn't going to be as high because the product is too volatile. It can be here this year, may not the next year. So you have some fair balance there with the owners. Some can care less. Let's stick it to the players. I'll take a loss for 1 year just to make a point. And the others, man, that's going to hurt us long term. You're not seeing the bigger picture. You know, so that's where they are as far as the owners and the NFL. So here's what Goodell them did. They threw out there. They played a game with the NFLPA last year, and that's what this writer says. And I actually have a similar stance and thought process that came to the same conclusion. All right. So here's what they did. Owners, well, I already read that. And they take credit. Now, here's what they did. They threw out the 18-game thing. And what they did is got the grievances from the players that they didn't want it, and then they pulled it back. But here was why they did it, okay? They didn't mind saying, okay, we won't do 18 games, because they only wanted to look favorable for other reasons, like the split and how much money the players in the league make, all of that. So they played a game, okay? Here's what they did. Number one, their goal was to float the 18-game season as a CBA bargaining priority. We won 18 games. They put that at the top, and they know the players are going to go against it. So we won 18 games, and they're fighting aggressively. We need 18, even if they knew they weren't going to do it. We need 18. They put it at the top of the list as a priority, but it was a trick. And here's why. Y'all know this, how this goes. Number two, their job was to first, number one, put it out there that they wanted it. Number two, watch predictable revolt and pushback from players and media. So it just said watch predictable feedback, okay? Revolts from the players and media. They already knew. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to float out the 18 games. We're going to wait on them to come back and say HE double hockey stick no. And let the media tear us apart. Like, I can't believe y'all trying to put this wear on players. Just let them keep attacking us, right? And number three, pull the issue back to prioritize others. So do you see where the game was played? Let's throw it out there. Let them complain about it. Make us look bad, like we're bad people. Now we're going to act like we concede to them. Hey, I'm TD speak, bro. Appreciate you, Tristan. So now they're like, we're going to act like we're conceding to them and say, all right, we're not going to do the 18 games, but at least now, come on, at least give us this, this, and this. And the players are like, yeah, we're not doing 18. All right, we'll give you those. You see what I mean? It's almost like you knew you weren't going to try to put it in place anyway because you don't want that legal battle right now and to go through all of that, but you make it your top priority. And make it seem like that's what you want and you'll die for it. And then when the players feel like they got to win to say, no, we don't want it. And then we say, oh, okay, we won't force it on you guys. Man, just bamboozle them, man. So The players feel like they got a victory out of the last CBA, but the NFL really got a few little other key issues that they wanted for a while to go through. So that was their goal the entire time. But what we have to remember with this new CBA is you can only dangle a carrot out there for so long, or the detractor out there so long before it actually comes real. You know, we won 18 games. It is projected that this is the CBA right here where the NFL looks to get that done. This is the negotiation that the NFL looks to get that done. Okay? If that's a priority, the players have already been pushing back again. I ain't talking about what I just read from the past. They're pushing back even right now. They already know that's what the NFL wants again, and they're already pushing back at it, okay? Now, one moment. Let's see. Now, on the flip side of it, the NFL is going into this CBA knowing its priorities. They're going into this CBA automatically knowing their priorities. And from my understanding, their number one priority is the 18 games this time. That's what they're going to be negotiating. They done already took care of a lot of those other little ones when they pulled a quick one, if you ask me, on the players. As far as making it seem like, oh, we want this, and pulling it back so you're more sympathetic with the other things. Okay? Now, that's the NFL. That's their priorities. Now, the players. Last CBA, the article goes on to say that the players did not actually have priorities in the last CBA. It's almost like they just went into it, make sure we fight against everything that that they want. Let's make sure that we're prepared. What are they trying to ask for? Okay, we're going to waste a lot of our energy fighting against that. But it was unclear what their priorities were in reference to the offensive. Here's what I want. They were unclear, okay? And now that's not good going into a CBA for those things not to be clear. Now, I will say this with DeMaurice Smith. He had kind of just got on the job, and he handled that CBA very well, from my understanding. But that was one thing. Going into this CBA, the players are going to have their priorities, ladies and gentlemen. They are going to have their priorities so that we can not have a stoppage of football, so the players can be happy and this league can be happy. They have to figure out a way to find a happy median, all right? Now, moving forward, let's talk about all the issues. And when we talk about all the issues, we're actually going to discuss all the issues. So if it's, one moment, guys. Okay, I got it. Outside of we won 18 games, let me list to you all the issues that are on the table this time, okay? We already know about the 18 games. They want to also negotiate the revenue split. Remember, I told you again, you know, it could be 50-50, it could be 52-48, it can keep going. However, they want to negotiate that again. They tried to negotiate it on the last CBA, and the players did a good job holding on, if not even better than what they had. But they were trying to get that down, okay? Now, what else? They also want to discuss minimum team spending requirements, y'all. That's the important one, because minimum team spending requirements, that's something where right now teams are spending money. And I'm not talking about just the salary cap. If I'm to assert this correctly, your entire expenses, travel, per diem, everything for your players, your staffs, your marketing, all of that stuff goes into it. All of it. There's so many things that go into it. They want to discuss minimums on that. So it looks like they're trying to see the NFL trying to cut back how much they send the teams to do things. You know, minimum salaries, not minimum salary, minimum team spending requirements. Now, maybe I'm talking about something else here. Minimum team spending requirements. I'm so sorry. That's a whole nother issue of what I was talking about, because they were thinking about that as well. But I'm actually discussing, because I read up on this already, I'm discussing the minimum team spending requirements. I think what that is the salary cap. What some people don't realize is if you got $190 million on the salary cap, the teams don't have to spend $190 million. They could spend 180 and carry that 10 million over to the next year. Now next year your salary cap is 200 million. And you have, from my understanding, you have to spend your money, at least 95% of your money, within a 4-year time frame, a 4-year block, 4-year period. That's how long you have to spend your money. Is in every rolling 4-year period. You have to make sure you're managing it and balancing it. Some teams have had seasons on $88 million cap where they only had 140 million allocated to the cap. Literally not even using 30 million. And you're like, we got 30 million in cap. What are we doing? Why aren't we spending it? We could be going to get this and that, and this. No, they want to carry it on to the next season because of certain contracts. You know, the Dolphins got 20-something million right now. The Dolphins got 20-something million right now. We ain't even making no moves. We're going to be saving some cash, and we might make 1 more or 2 more roster moves. But trust me, I think we're going to be saving 10 to 15 million at the end of the day. And why not save up that money now? Because 3 years from now, when Minka got to get his money, and some of those guys, we want to put that on the back end. See, you can be real creative in football. See, we all just think that the salary cap is just basic. You know how I'm always arguing 20 million here, 30 million. Now we got to talk about how you fluctuated, how you put more in this year. And that's why you think they did that with Rashard Jones' contract. He was lower earlier, more later. And then you got players like Tannehill, less earlier, more later, or vice versa. That's how they got to play those games. This is why I was talking about Xavier Howard. The way the deal is structured, they only lock down for 3 years while they're not using much cap space anyway. And then they'll make a decision when it's time to actually use cap space on other players and look at his contract. Trust me, man, you got to look at all that type of stuff. It's important. It's important. So they're talking about changing the minimum spending requirements. So it might be, hey, you can spend on $190 million salary cap, the minimum you can go is 150 in that year and carry over 40, or carry over 40, but it got to be in increments of 10 for the years to come, or whatever, however they do it. But the minimum requirement, they might up it from my understanding. They might put it closer to the cap, but still allow you to carry some over. So they're going to be negotiating those things. See, that's a team negotiation too. All right, let's see. What else? They're going to also be talking about commissioner power and player discipline. That's a huge one. And a lot of people aren't happy about how Goodell handled many suspensions. Overdoing it, underdoing it. It's a lot of that going on. The policies he put in place, how much power he has. And what sentences can he give these players? So they're going to be negotiating those things. Another one. Now, this is a big one, y'all. And they actually underlined it in this one. This is a big one. Marijuana testing and discipline. It's a huge one. I mean, that can go in many ways. And we're going to talk about each of these one by one, but I'm just reading these off to you, okay? Because these players, man, they probably want to go ahead and say, allow us to. And they don't care even if it has to come under the preference of for pain. But if you're not in pain, you don't use it. Because they all know they're in pain. Man, let them start being allowed to. Man, see what happened. See what happened. I don't know what'll happen, honestly. I don't even know why I'm saying that. But most players smoke. Yeah, most players smoke weed. Yeah, they do. That's a given. Even now, I've heard interviews of players actually say they're only supposed to test you once a year. That's why some guys, when they're tested early in the year, they start celebrating because they know they're not going to get tested for the rest of the year unless some type of infraction or something like that. But a lot of these guys do. But look how many great players we've lost because of it. Look how many great players get suspended because of it. You know, and not just marijuana. It's other drug policies too. They're going to be discussing. Now, there are, let me see. Yeah. Now, let me also bring up, there's two new things that is on the docket that they're going to discuss, okay? Number one is, see, the players never want to get left out. Oh, you making a little extra money on the side from that? We want some of that revenue too. The NFL is gambling now. We're gambling now. The NFL makes a lot of money on gambling. See, you all think it's just we're the NFL and people gamble on us. No. The NFL makes money from people making bets. The NFL makes revenue because you're using our product to hedge bets and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, the NFL getting a piece of that pie. Now the players want to sit down. Where's ours? Where's ours? You know, they're going to talk about that. See here. And the last one, players' biometric and health data, specifically the issue of who owns the data and the price of sharing it. I'm not really versed on that. I have to read up on it, and trust me, I will. So I'm not sure about that one. Something about their health information and who can have it and how much is it worth and things like that. But anyway, these are the issues, guys. These are all of the issues that they're going to be discussing. All right. Now, since we know the issues now, we know the main players, you know the characters. You got Mr. Smith and you got Mr. Goodell battling about these issues I just named. Now, it's time to go ahead and start discussing, and we're not going to be able to get through them all. It's going to be the next video, but we'll start discussing these issues more in depth, okay? We're going to cover every single one of them. I'm going to probably have time to do two issues today, and then probably the other four tomorrow or the day after. So let's go ahead and dive in. First and foremost, the biggest juggernaut in the room, okay? 18 games. Y'all let me know in the comment section. Do y'all want 18 games as fans? Now, within that 18 games, you also have to understand, it's a beautiful thing. The 18 games are going to replace the 2 preseason games. So we will only have 2 preseason games and 18 regular season games. Would you guys want to have 18 game seasons for the Miami Dolphins? So y'all put that in the comment section, guys. Are you for 18 or no? Yeah and no, because of injuries. Now, I'm glad you said that. Now it's time to play act it out, all right? Here we go. Roger Goodell. Listen, Mr. Smith. Listen up. Okay? You already know we want 18 games. We don't need to play games. Let's go ahead and get it done. My players don't want 18 games. Come on, let's keep it real. Come on, stop. I know what your players don't want, but let's keep it real, okay? I know they don't want 18 games, but at the end of the day, we don't need their consent to have 18 games. I'm here to negotiate with you. We want 18 games. You tell me what would make it feasible for you all to have those 18 games. Because if we want to go there, we'll go there. But in the process of us going there, we can make that transition a lot better for you all. Mr. Smith says we don't want 18 games. Goodell, listen, okay. Here's what we're willing to offer if we do 18 games, okay? If we do 18 games, we can increase the roster to 60, 65 players, somewhere in that range. Because I already know, well, first, let me back up, guys. First, Mr. Smith says my players don't want 18 games. We're not going for it because they're already worn out. They're already beat up. You know, and you're trying to add more wear on their body, 2 additional games. Not only, I know we're sitting here talking about 18 games, but not only do you want to add 18 games, but let's keep it real. What else is on the docket is you no longer want 6 playoff teams from each side. You want 8. You want 8 playoff teams from each side. This is a fact. So I'm not sure about that. 8 or 7 was proposed. Have the number 1 seed have a bye, and the other 6 teams play it out first week. 3 teams playing on the wild card week on each side, and then the 3 remaining, the lowest seed play the number 1. The other 2 play each other. all the way up. You want 7. That's what I believe it was. You want 7 teams on each side in the playoffs, an extra team. Now, I'm all for that. You know how many times it feel like we done ended up at the 7th? Do you know how many times it was like we were the 7th and one more game, or man, we got beat out by one team. So, but Mr. Smith is saying, I mean, not only do you want to do that, you also want to have an additional team in the playoffs. These players, man, they go through a lot. They're beat up by week 8. And you're trying to put more wear on them. You're treating them almost like slaves. I mean, that's probably how they talk it. You're making them slave for you. Come on, now, Goodell, come on, man. They making millions of dollars. What are you crying about? All of our players ain't making them millions of dollars. Well, the ones that's not making millions of dollars, most of them are on the bench. They're not playing much anyway, so how much banged up can they be? Come on, stop with the mess, man. Let's negotiate this. We won 18 games. We're trying to figure out how we can make it better for you. You know? I mean, we can add more people to the roster, 63, so get rid of the little complaints y'all have about, players getting hurt. Now you have more options. Now you have more depth. If players get hurt. How about that? And not only that, we're going to pay you in line with the additional 2 games. That's more money for your players. Well, now Smith probably jumping in. Well, don't talk about money because we need to put this to the table, and now we need to discuss this revenue split. Because if the revenue split is a little better, we might be able to consider the 18 games because that's more money for everyone. Goodell says, let's not get ahead of yourself. We're discussing 18 games right now. That's what we're dealing with right now. We'll get to the revenue split. I know you like the one we have now. We have some new proposals. We'll get to that later. But 18 games. Why are you taking away preseason from these players anyway? That's time for the team to gel. That's time for them to get together, get some camaraderie, be able to work through some of their things. Because and Goodell says it's all about money at the end of the day. Well, why am I going to pass up on a major? Come on. Nobody watches the 4th preseason game, barely. And some people, after the first quarter of the first game, they don't watch. So, come on, man. What we're trying to do is replace 2 non-premium games that most people ain't going to watch and replace them with 2 premium games. Do you know game 17 and game 18 are going to bring in even more revenue than 15 and 16? 15 and 16 is already our highest weeks of revenue. It's the last week of the season. Everybody trying to see if their team's getting in or what. Highest revenue weeks of the season outside of the playoffs. And you add 2 more to that? That's a lot more money, a lot more in the TV deals. We have a goal in 2027. We're trying to not be 15 billion from the TV networks. We're shooting for 28 billion. 28 billion. Do you know the split in revenue, even if the numbers are different? And Smith jumps in and says, no, the numbers shouldn't be different. But anyway, back to the subject. Goodell says, but still, look at the revenue. We're going from 15 billion in revenue that we're splitting between us and the players. And now we're going to be going to 28 billion by 2027 if we keep on growing the way we are. Y'all trying to hurt this growth. Everybody wins. What's the complaints about? What's the complaints about? Everybody's going to win. If we go from 15 billion to 27 billion, do you realize everybody's salary pretty much is about, 50% more than they make now? 50% more than they make now. If they make 20 million, they're going to be making 30. If they make 9 million, now they're going to be making 13.5. Everybody's winning. What are y'all complaining about? Ain't it about the money for your players too? Yeah, it's about the money, but it's also about their health. That's what Smith says. It's also about, I just told you what we can do about the health to give you a bigger roster. We already in the last CBA did what you all wanted us to do for health. We reduced the amount of contact practices. You all asked for that. So we minimize how many contact practices you have. I think it's only like a handful a year. Most of y'all don't realize that. Real contact in the regular season, some teams won't even have any. Real contact. Some of y'all don't even know that. They're only allowed to have like a handful of contact practices when the season starts in the whole year. So every week they not banging. No, they doing run-throughs. They wearing pads, tops, but just the paint, just shorts. They not going full yet. They not. They not out there. They're practicing. It's like walkthroughs and run-throughs. They're not banging up on each other and stuff like that. That's why in practice, most of the injuries you hear is torn ACL or this and that, and this, because it's just those injuries that nobody even touched you. Tannehill did his and nobody touched him. That's why you hear all the reports would be sack. So we already gave, so Goodell says, we already gave you those things. Player safety. You barely even practice now. And not to mention a whole lot of other things. So, I mean, what is the argument about? Now, guys, we're going to pause right there and stop real quick. Knowing what we know now, this is what the argument's about. This is what the argument's about. What do we do? I mean, whose side are you on? As a fan, 18 games is more games. That's more football. That's exciting in itself. I mean, what do y'all think as a fan? As an owner of the team, that's money for us. As a player, man, that's more strain and stress on our bodies. More at risk to get hurt. More people won't make that long journey to the Super Bowl even if the team wins it. But it is a lot more money in the future. But you know what? 7 years from now, that new TV deal, I barely will be, I probably ain't gonna be in the league. Why should I care about the future players and standing up for them? I don't know. Some of them may think like that too, which is selfish. That's tough. Selfish. But these are people's thoughts. So what do y'all think, man? 18 season, yes. 18 season, no. 18 games, too much. Too much for who? You as a fan, the players, the owner. I mean, talk to me. As a fan, it's great and a better chance to make playoffs. Well, I'm not going to say a better chance to make playoffs because the chance is still the same because the teams are still the same. I mean, you have more cracks at it, a larger sample size to maybe finally get over a hump. I like that somebody who's injured that might be able to come back for the playoffs can definitely come back for the playoffs. Depending on when the injury happens, there's a few less season ending type of situations. 18 games with 2 bye weeks, maybe. See, thank you. I'm so sorry. I can't even believe I left that out. Goodell, okay, listen, Mr. Smith. Not only will we give you more on the roster, how about we give every team 2 bye weeks? How about we give every team 2 bye weeks? And if we do 2 bye weeks, how about we meet in the middle? Because this was proposed too. How about we meet in the middle? You get 2 bye weeks and we only add 1 game. 17 games a season instead of 16. I mean, come on. We want 18. You already know we want 18. And to me, it's one of those things again. We're going to put 18 out there, and then when we pull back, it's going to seem more reasonable. But even though they're doing their tactics again, I mean, I don't see what's wrong with it. But I guess, if you're a player and you don't like it, you don't like it. But you get 2 byes. This is what's being proposed, y'all. It's what they already know about. But guess what? Something that I haven't mentioned, even though I'm sitting here narrating the conversation, these are the conversations of the past. Right now, Goodell and Smith, they're not even on talking terms. They're not even negotiating right now. They can be negotiating 2 years before the CBA comes so they can have something in place, locked in. But they're not. Because I think everyone's caught up on 18 games. Y'all don't want it at all. Well, we're willing to do this with the 18 games, make it 17, 2 bye weeks, get rid of 2 preseason games, and everybody gets more money. And they got kicked back on that too. Even though I'm sure the players' union is like, well, we might explore that option. But let's talk about some of the other issues, because we got to hold our bargaining chip too. We got to keep saying no on this, because now that we're talking about revenue split, you guys are saying 52-48 and we're like 50-50. We might need to use that to say, okay, let's keep 50-50 and we'll give you the 17 games with the 2 buys and this and that and this. So they have to hold their marbles too. And they're not going to budge on that until they discuss some of the other issues. But they're not even talking. I think the NFL's like, we're not going to discuss any other issues until we finish this. So that's what I think is going on, more so. That's what everyone's writing about with the inside people that's hearing about what's been happening and what's been going on. That's just one issue, y'all. That's the 18-game issue. And we have other issues that I want to discuss as well. Now, I am running out of time, so I'm going to try to jump in and get one more, okay? We're going to try to throw in one more priority, all right? Overall revenue split. Perfect segue. Man, that one will take a long time. Dolphins will win it all. That's right, Tristan. We're not going to do overall revenue split. Yeah, we'll do it. Anyway, listen. Overall revenue split, okay? I was going to do it next time, but it's fine. Overall revenue split. Guys, it is what it is. The NFL just wants more money. They're like, the players are getting buku money as this league grows, man. They're getting more and more and more and more and more. NFL's just, I'm going to be honest with you. The NFL's not happy that we're virtually kind of matched on revenue. We're the company. You know, you're the employee. We can set our general expenses as far as what they pay employees and all of that stuff. We can set those general expenses at what we want to set them at. Why are we letting them dictate? All because of a lockout. And like I told y'all earlier, you know, some owners like, let's get locked out then because we need to protect our brand. Instead of making, literally, y'all, instead of making 60, 70, 80, 90, or 100 million a year, depending on what franchise you are, we could be making 140, 150, 160, 170, 180 a year. Million. You know? Why are we giving them all of our profits? They're employees. This is what we pay for that. It's almost like this. Now, don't get me wrong. I told y'all I'm going to play both sides of the field. So I'm not going to sit here and dog the NFL like that. You also got to look at it like this. Let's take somebody that works at a grocery store. Let's take Publix. Publix is offering their cashiers $10 an hour, right? Their cashier, bagger, whatever, $10 an hour. Publix makes 100% profit this year. They used to make, let's just hypothetically say they used to make 50 million a year at this location. Now that location is making 100 million a year. Does that mean that the employee's salary needs to go from $10 an hour to $20 an hour? No, that ain't how it works. They may say we're making so much in profits, we want to make that position $12 an hour now. Everybody coming in gets $12 now. We're doing better for you all. But they're not finna split all the gained profits with you. No company finna do that. Unless you're working some type of commission company where that's their structure, and that's rare. No company's gonna do that. But the NFL somehow had the NFLPA, which I give them kudos, they've been able to negotiate to even virtually 50-50 almost. That's huge. That's huge. So, and nothing's wrong with that, but nothing's wrong with that in my opinion. But at the end of the day, these players' contracts are going from, like I told y'all before, the salary cap was like 130 million less than 10 years ago, and it just shot up. It just shot up all the way to 188 or 190. That fast? You would think a salary cap will go up about, 6% a year, maybe. That's pretty nice. But man, it's been jumping 50% and stuff like that. It's crazy. The money that's coming in from these TV deals on the renegotiations and the renewals of the contracts. And they're making more and more money. So basically what these players are basically saying, if I'm a receiver that makes $5 million a year, if the TV company's offering you double that, I want $10 million a year. I want my share. And I get that. They fought for it. They kind of have it. So kudos to them, because I don't know what company would actually do that. But the reason why they are able to do that is simply because the NFL just doesn't really want a lockout, even though some of the owners already told you. They're like, man, we need to put our foot down at some point and call it what it is. This is supposed to be, it's already a cash cow for these billionaires, but it's supposed to be a mega cash cow. Some of them could be making $300 million a year if they had it that way. They will still have salary caps maybe around $140 million divided between every team. But what that did in the past, it made the NFL a lot more competitive. When you had a lower cap, it made the NFL so much more competitive. And the reason why is because contracts it wasn't large margins like that. A running back, an amazing running back today will get $14 million, but a running back back then, an amazing one would get $8 or $9 million. You see the difference there? But here's the ratio I want you to pay attention to. A running back then that was amazing that would get $8 million a year. The quarterback was only getting about 11 or 12 back then a year. You see the difference of $5 million? But let me show you the difference in jump. Running back, $8 million, quarterback maybe $13 million, $5 million difference. In today's NFL, that running back's getting $15 million and the quarterback's getting $35. $20 million difference. Y'all see why I keep telling y'all stuff is getting bloated? And the reason why teams are playing around with money like this and offering $35 million contracts, because they ain't used to having it. They acting like they never had it, and they didn't. That's the truth. TD, it's inflation. That ain't inflation. That ain't the rate of inflation. That's not the rate of inflation. Now the NFL's profits are supposed to be inflated, not the employees. I mean, they tell you in our U.S. economy, you at least want to get a 3% raise every year to keep up with inflation. 3% more every year, you're keeping up with the cost of living. Because you want 3% growth across the board, products, everything. If you're at a company, you want to make about 3% more, and players aren't making 3% more every year. That thing jumping every year, 20% here, 16% there, 30% here. It's jumping every year. And that's only because the profits of the company are better and better, but the way they got the deal set up, the players are getting that as well. Now, here's what they also need to realize. That's a fluctuating number. If they have a lockout, the TV companies may only offer half, and they'll go right back down to sharing $7 billion. Now you got a salary cap of about $110 million. They also don't want those problems, because what is the Seahawks going to tell Russell Wilson? Our salary cap is $110 million now. We got these contracts right now on the books. You know how many teams would be screwed on contracts? Everybody, if they passed it right now where the salary cap was $110 million. Now remember, it can change every year. It does change every year. The NFL tells you, based off of the revenue that we got coming in, here's what the salaries cap is going to be. Now, if they lose revenue from these TV deals, they might look at every team and say, here's what your salary cap is, $110 million. $110 million. And guess what's going to happen to all the teams? All of them are going to be about $60 million over the salary cap, $70 million, $80 million actually over the salary cap. Now they have to cut players, and all the guaranteed players they got to eat. The league is going to be paying pennies. All new contracts going to be league minimums until they can get back in front of their books. That's what they definitely want to avoid. The owners don't like that. But the owners also, hey, every team's going through it. Y'all do know that the salary cap fluctuates based off of how much money revenue it brings in. It's impossible to pay a salary cap stay at $190 million if you not even making that money to cover all 32 teams. That's a moving number, just so y'all know. The salary cap is a live moving number. Every year it may change. Every single year, man. But anyway, but that revenue split, this is what they're arguing about. This is what the players want their money too, but the NFL, the owners, they're like, this is crazy, man. They're pretty much, this is crazy. We should be getting more profits. We're the business owner. We're being held hostage by our employees. And the players like, you're just greedy. Why can't we get it? We make the league. Why can't we get a piece of this? And I always take myself out of football when I think about these arguments, because as a fan, I'm like, that's right. The players make the league and all that. You get behind them, right? But then when you remove football out of the equation and look at it from a business, and like I said, let's replace football with Publix. What? The worker's going to say, we make you and this and that, and this? They don't care. They're going to hire some more people because those people are dependent on money to pay their bills and take care of their family. They're going to hire some more people. And they're going to pay you. They may give you a raise, but they're not going to share revenue with you like that. They definitely not going to share revenue with you like that. Listen, they are literally, if the NFL had their way, it'll be 75-25. Maybe even worse than that, but I'm just saying, it'll be 75-25. So that's what y'all have to understand too. That affects the salary cap too. Because if 25% of the revenue is going to the players, salary is going to drop. But it ain't going to go that far. Y'all already know that. Y'all already know that. It's not going to go down to no 25%. They've been negotiating in the 52-48s and the 50-50s as of late. So that's where they are. That's an argument as well. So I see it both ways. Players want their cash, this, that, and this. And the owners are like, this is our business. This is our company. We don't have to do this. This ain't right. You know? True. But anyone can work at Publix. Not everyone can play football. Not everyone can play football, J. Rose, but there's enough people to play football. If half the league was gone tomorrow, they can find the other half. It may not be as high of quality, but these are the owners are going to tell all the teams, these are the cards you dealt. Find the best that you can. Everybody's dealing with it. Everybody's struggling like this, going through this. So do the best you can. Fill out the rest of this roster. We just got rid of the people who didn't want to do it. You know? Can you please read my comment from before? Anthony, TD, are you old enough to remember the replacement kickers season during the lockout in 1980? No, I don't. But I have read up on the replacement kicker situation when I was reading up on the last CBA. Just crazy, man. You need to speak on NFL Network. Tell them hit me up, man. Yo, what's up, TD? I'm loving the quality. Appreciate you. These owners just making more billions. Well, I mean, what is their job? To make more billions, though. Hit that like button, guys. I can't fault them for it. Here's how I look at it, too. We got to stop just looking at, like, the elite people that make a lot of money as like scavengers. At the end of the day, if you were a billionaire and you owned a business, something would literally be wrong with you. And I'm not speaking to anyone in particular, just overall. Something would be wrong with you if you ain't got the manager or the CEO that you hire or whoever it is that you hire for that business you own to make you more and more profits. Whose side you on? Both. And it depends on the issue. When it comes to the 18 games, I'm sorry. Let's put more games out there, baby. At the end of the day, y'all also got to recognize owners are going to be owners. Players are going to be players. Fans are going to be fans. Give me my 18 games. Let's keep it 100, you know? Let's keep it 100. And as far as this split with the money, I'm with the players, and here's why. If you already let them get it to a 48, 52, or 50-50, y'all keep fighting for that same thing. Keep getting your money. Take care of them. This is a prestige league. You should be honored to be in it. You should be throwing money at people. You should be. They deserve it. They're making you billions. I know you want to make more billions, and you're going to find ways to do it. You're going to win some battles and lose some battles just to make billions, and you will. But, you know, these guys want to be moguls themselves. They want to own businesses when they retire. They want to, you know, they want to start educating themselves on how to use the money they're getting from you, since some of them don't even have that education on how to manage their money. So, you know, you look what Stephen Ross was doing, having the business camp in the off season, and Ndamukong Suh was going to it. All of those guys. That's what it's about. That's what it's about, man. But they not paying elite players. Yes, they are. What do you mean they're not paying elite players? They paying everybody on the roster. 75% of nothing is nothing if a lockout, but owners can wait because they rich, players can't. You hit it right on the head, Joe. That's part of the problem. The NFLPA has announced to all the players, save your money. This is real, y'all. NFLPA came out and said, save your money. We might be going into a lockout in 2 years. Save your money now. They're prepping. And I don't know if that's a tactic to say, oh, we're prepared for it because we told our players to save money, and the NFL gets nervous. What if they can withstand the whole year? That would suck. I don't know if it's a tactic or not, but they're telling them 2 years early, save your money. Save your money. Okay? This is getting real, man. But then, in my opinion, football owners have just as much pressure. Spot on, Shake Money. They do. They do. I mean, they don't want that money to stop. They don't want that revenue to stop. They don't want their brand and their product. Let me tell you how business-oriented Goodell is in defending the NFL. He uses a certain term all the time. Defending the shield. Defending the shield. The emblem of the NFL is a shield. Okay? That NFL you see with the curve and all that, that's a shield. Defend the shield. He says it all the time. Defend the shield. And that's what they have to do, man. They have to. So they're going to try their best not to have a lockout, but if they have to at the end of the day, they're going to weigh the pros and cons. There's going to be lawsuits going on, all of that, but hopefully it doesn't go down that road. If half the league gets cut, it's going to look like 1982 football with XFL players. Yes, it will. Until they come to an agreement, then them players going to want to come back. TD, what do you if you were NFL commissioner for a day? 1 day, man. These guys don't go to sleep. These guys probably sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. And you said 1 day? I mean, how much can you do in 1 day? But I guess if I was to take a crack at it, if I was the commissioner, what would I do in a day? I'll take a look at, at the end of the day, I'm in the office just reading. That's all I'm doing, reading. Understanding the business, in and out. Understanding the every aspect of the money. Understanding every aspect of player relations. Understanding the officiating. Not the calls, but the business of it. And understanding the world economics in regards to the NFL and where they stand on the global market. Because you have to. That's primarily their job. Y'all got to understand that. All this stuff we talk about right now is just a small part of Roger Goodell's job. Roger Goodell is around here trying to make the next big deal in Europe. And how can we bring this and bring that and maybe have 2 outside the country teams? Look at Toronto. That was massive for Toronto. Is it time for Toronto to have a football team? That's what Goodell's doing all day, every day. He's trying to figure that type of stuff out. That's what the commissioner is mainly doing. What's going to help us grow? What's going to be new and fascinating? Give us a bigger market share, bigger notoriety, bigger profit margins, bigger all of that. That's his job, and that's what I would do. Just start reading so I can understand the ins and outs more than I know now. More than I know now. So it would be interesting, though. I think I would be good at anything like that. That's the type of stuff I love. My thing is my prep time may take longer than guys that's already doing it, like Goodell and stuff like that. They might can come in the door first day, get to rolling. Me, hey, I need about a month. I need about a month to ins and outs because I don't want to have to refer to them. They can answer for you. I want to be able to give you the answer and then refer you to somebody so they can get on you. Just at least sent you a message. Hold on, y'all. real quick. All right, hold on, guys. All right, what I'm gonna do, man, I'm actually in this stream. I'm gonna end this stream because it's at an hour now, and I got something to do for about 15 minutes. And the babies, they're about to take a nap, so I'm actually gonna hop back on in about 15 to 20 minutes and go live, answer some of your questions, not even related to this, or it can be related to this. Just talk Dolphin football while I play this Jets fan in Madden, man. And I'm gonna show y'all me beating up on them. Hopefully. All right, man. It's TD Fans Talk. I love y'all. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. This is part 2 of the series. If you haven't checked out part 1, please go check it out. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new over here. This is the home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. This is TD Fans Talk. Peace, y'all. Love y'all. Love y'all. Love y'all. I'm out.